Many great leaders often start as educators and learners themselves. What would you say about that early experience?
The best leaders have some qualities, and one of those qualities
In your view, what should education really aim to achieve in today's fast-changing world?
that the world is changing so quickly. Even if you study for a particular job now, 5 years from now that job might not be there.
Today's interconnected world, geography does not limit our education anymore. What do you exactly think about global collaborations?
Best things that you can really do from an education point of view is
Do you think schools could prepare the students for great skills and sustainable careers?
the cost of living for people is really high. And if we adopt new technologies, we can bring the costs down for people and we can live a cleaner life. This is like the second industrial revolution. This is a message for the students.
What if the skills that we are learning today will not be needed by tomorrow? And what if education is not just about degrees, but about preparing yourself for the world that's constantly changing? A grand welcome to DPS Mathura Road's podcast series, where we explore billions and millions of ideas sitting together here that shape the future of learning and leadership. Our today's theme is shaping future skills, education, leadership, global leadership, and partnerships with sustainability.
We are truly honored to have with us today Dr. Pitfield, OBE, a distinguished leader in strategy, education, and skill development, with over 30 years of experience with government, industry, and international platforms. From beginning his journey as a teacher to now shaping conversations around future skills, sustainability, and educational policies. His work bridges the gap between ideas and real world impacts. Sir, it is a privilege to be here with you.
It's my very great pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. It's lovely to see you here in Delhi.
To the podcast.
Thank you.
Tell us something else about yourself apart from what we have said.
Yeah, so just to say thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your podcast. It's a great pleasure to be here. As I was saying a bit earlier, I flew overnight the night before from London. It's a long way, but I'm really grateful to be here and thank you for the chance to have this important discussion. You touched on the fact that I've done all sorts of things in my life. I started as a professional musician. I played the clarinet. So for any musicians out there, I was a professional musician. I then taught in school. So I taught at the Purcell School of Music in the UK, just outside of London. Purcell School trains very talented musicians from all over the world, and I'm sure that there are Indian young people there too. So I did that for a period of time. More recently, I've worked in and around government, but as you said, I'm very interested in skills and the jobs of the future, and that's perhaps some of the things we're going to talk about today. But thank you so much for the invitation. It's lovely to be here. Everyone's so welcoming and warm. It's great.
All right. So, sir, as we begin, many great leaders often start as educators and learners themselves. Like you yourself started as a teacher. What would you say about that early experience? How did it help you shape and lead your thoughts towards where you are today? It would be lovely to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you. It's a great question. The best leaders have some qualities. And one of those qualities, I believe, is that you understand that there are some really important things in all of our lives. Family is very important, I believe. I think most of your parents and your students will understand that family is very important. But also, we're all young people. Even I'm 57 years of age. Even I was young once. I went to school. And when I went to school, I actually went to school in South Africa from the age of 11 to 16. I went to school in the UK before that, but I remember particularly my older years in school in South Africa. There are some thoughts that I think are really important. Firstly, some of those very important teachers in my life, even now as an older person, I remember those teachers. Why do I remember those teachers? I remember those teachers because they helped me to learn things. They helped me to think about who I was as a person. And they helped me to form some thoughts about what I wanted to do when I left school. And I remember a few teachers specifically, and I'm very thankful for the way that I was able to personally interface with them. So further to that, education is so very important because life is about thinking about things, not telling people this is what it is, but thinking about things. And in education, there are two things that are really key to me. Firstly, facts. So, hopefully we agree the world is round. That's a fact. I won't get into confrontational or controversial facts, but that's a fact. We all agree that's a fact. But then there are lots of things that are more nuanced. They're more about me as a person and things that I believe in and feel and think. So there's those two sides going on. For you and your colleagues at school, you'll be thinking about learning things. Curiosity is very important. Are you curious? Do you ask questions? I'm always asking questions. But then also listening to people. What do people say? What are the two of you saying to me in our conversation? Podcasts are about conversations, of course. It's not just me talking. But hopefully that gives you an idea. Education is so very important to all of our lives. It makes a fundamental difference to how well we're going to succeed, how we get on with people in the world. Hopefully you feel that I'm a friendly person, that we can talk together in this way. All of those soft skills, we might touch on it a bit later, but meeting people, never forget too, I'm going off message now, I'm not answering your question, but never forget, life is about people. AI is important, technology is important, laptops are important, TV is important, but the life is about people.
That definitely helps us set a tone for our future.
I think I answered lots of different questions there, but thank you for your first question.
Sir, nowadays education is evolving far beyond marks and subjects. In your view, what should education really aim to achieve in today's fast-changing world?
This is a very important question, and your questions have lots of different questions in them, so I will try and answer the 2 or 3 different questions in your question. Firstly, the fast-changing world of work. When I grew up, you could be almost guaranteed that if you studied a particular course, you would get a particular kind of job, and that would be your career for your life. We have to know now that the world is changing so quickly that even if you study for a particular job now, 5 years from now, that job might not be there. So this is really important. I am now on my 5th job in my life. So I started off as a professional musician. I then became a music teacher. I then was the CEO of a charity for young people with cerebral palsy. I then worked around government, and now I work for my own company. I work for myself, doing the things that I love like this. This is very exciting. I'm getting too excited. So that's the first answer to the question. The second answer to the question is that life is not all about marks. But don't tell your parents if they're listening in, because they will be saying to every student that getting an A grade or an A-star grade or a top mark is important. And actually, if you are listening in, parents, of course it's important. You have to do the very best that you can at school. But the really best thing that you can learn at school is, again, how to be around people and how to develop what I call, and you probably call, soft skills. Soft skills are how do we talk to one another? How do I make sure that my shoes are clean? How do I eat in front of other people? How do I respond if you ask me a question? Am I polite or am I aggressive? Soft skills are very important. And people make immediate judgments. I made an immediate judgment that you are both very good English speakers. Very impressed. I made an immediate judgment that you were probably a little nervous, and now you're not so nervous. And you're great interviewers already, I know that. So we make judgments, but it's all about soft skills. So, Anandi, I like that you are having a little bit of a, you're saying to me, Well, Spencer, Dr. Pitfield, what do you think about this? I like this. This is good. You can only do that, though, if you feel confident in the way that you are able to present yourself. I hope, Mushtaba, if I've pronounced your name correctly, I'm getting better, I hope, that this answers your question.
Yeah, it does. It does, actually.
Thank you. Wow. Am I going to get an A star?
Yes.
Excellent. I got an A star so far.
Like you said before, students are preparing for a future that is yet to unfold.
Yes.
Jobs of tomorrow don't even exist yet.
Yeah.
What skills should students focus on?
Okay. So now I get excited. There are going to be lots of jobs still available for the next 50 to 100 years, and they won't really change. So I give you an example, and there are other examples. My 3 children are all studying to be medical doctors. What I know about medicine is that the technology is going to change the way that a doctor does their job, because the technology is going to immediately say, this scan, this blood test, this is what's going on. But there will always be a job for a doctor because it's about people. I'm the patient and Andy, you're the doctor. I come in, I say to the doctor, I have these pains. Can you tell me, how do we sort this out? The doctor says, I've done these tests and this is what's wrong with you. And this is how we can help. So those jobs are always going to be there, but many other jobs are not going to be there. AI is going to take them out. And at the moment, thousands of jobs are being lost in certain sectors. So you have to, what we say, think smart about what jobs you study for. The other thing which is really important is that, and I care passionately about this, what I call real jobs, real skills. What does that mean? We're going to need to build lots of houses because our populations continue to grow. So we're going to need people who are bricklayers. We're going to need people who are electricians. These, in the past, were perceived to be not good jobs. These are the best jobs in the future. I could start my own electrical company. I could employ 20 people. I could be a very important person in Delhi because I put electrics into people's homes. So I would encourage your students to think about a number of things. Firstly, some of your students will go to university. Only go to university if you're going to get a degree that is going to give you a job. Do not go to university because you want to socialize, have a small glass of beer, if people are allowed to drink beer. You go to university because there are some courses at university, for example, engineering. You have to go to university. There are going to be jobs in the future for engineers. We need roads, we need hospitals, we need infrastructure. But there are other jobs where many of the students here shouldn't be going to university. Now, if the parents are listening, I don't know how it is in India, but in the UK, this would be horrible news. Dr. Pitfield, you have ruined my family. My son, my daughter, they are going to university. That is what we desire. But I would say, well, you go to university, but to get no job? Is that what you want to do? Is that the best thing for your youngster? Why not think a bit outside of the box? I'm going to go and get some other skills that will give me a great job that can help people. Now, this is important too. We go to work because we like what we do. We hope. Many people don't like what they do. They're a bit miserable. In the camera, miserable. If you like what you do, if you get a buzz out of what you do, you're going to be great at your job. There's a bit of a team here who's looking after this. They're smiling. They seem to be having a good time. They obviously like what they're doing. It's exciting. They meet lots of different people who say different things. They're doing video. They're doing sound. They're doing really creative things. As a former clarinet player, creative things are very good. Unfortunately, if you play the clarinet, you don't earn a lot of money. And if you've got a family, that's a bit of a problem. I'm answering too many things, but hopefully we're getting some good things down for the podcast.
Now, sustainability Sustainability is no longer a choice. It has become a necessity in today's
Is-
fast-changing world.
Does it really? It is a choice, isn't it, Anandi?
Yeah, we can say that, but
I'm just challenging you back now.
looking at how the world's changing, the pollution, the way people think, how they do not involve sense, I do feel like it is now a necessity.
Okay, good.
My question to
Well done for sticking with your corner. I was just testing you out there.
sticking with my question.
Yeah.
Do you think schools could prepare the students for great skills and sustainable careers? If so, how exactly?
Good. So the first thing to say is I'm going to get a pet hate out publicly across the DPS network. And that is that there is far too much litter and pollution in our cities. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in Delhi or you're in Bangalore. I was in Bangalore 3 weeks ago. Or if you're in London or if you're in my home city of Sheffield. People take a plastic cup and then they drop it on the floor. So I want to say to you, I want to challenge you back. This is the challenging moment. Everyone who's listening to this, please look after your environment. Do not drop litter. And if you see people polluting your environment, you must challenge them. This is not acceptable. So you'll not be surprised to know some of your waterways in Delhi, there's lots of plastic in them. You have to clean them up. That's the first thing. So in this, and Andy, you're right, it's not a negotiable. But I want to say to you, I talk about green skills, and I talk about innovative green technologies, not because I'm an eco-zealot. I'm not an eco-zealot. I come to this because the cost of living for people is really high. And if we adopt new technologies, solar, battery storage, far infrared, we can bring the costs down for people and we can live a cleaner life. This is like the second industrial revolution. So when in the UK we invented the automotive car, until someone comes onto the podcast and say it wasn't in the UK, it was somewhere else. I'm very respectful. If it was invented in China, I apologize. But when we invented the car, nobody said, oh, we don't want to drive around quicker. We all said, of course we want to drive around quicker. What we're thinking about now is how do we make our cars cleaner and greener? Now, a lot of us are thinking about electric cars, but actually I think it might be hydrogen cars in the future, very near future. But the key thing is if there's good new technology out there, we've got to take it, we've got to embrace it, we've got to use it. Bring costs down for people, allow people to lead healthier and better lives. So, when you have lots of people, any big city, you get lots of pollution clouds. I'm sure the weather actually today is unbelievably good. 23 degrees or something like that. I feel great in my jacket, top and tie. But I can imagine in summer you have massive pollution. A lot of it is because it's so hot, 45 degrees, 49 degrees. So we must embrace innovative, clean and green technologies. And coming back to jobs, about your question about jobs, these are the jobs of the future. Clean, green jobs, wind turbines, solar panels, batteries, far infrared. These are great jobs and will give people really good careers. And importantly, you want to do something that makes you happy. And what a wonderful thing to come along to a family and say, I'm going to reduce your energy bills by 30%. Trust me, the family will smile, particularly if you can provide that without charging them any money. So in the UK now, I'm sure in India, lots of this technology is fully funded, because what happens is the revenues from the solar pays back the technology and then helps people to keep their bills lower. So I call it a win-win-win. It's not just one win. We're taking costs down, but we're also going to decarbonize and be cleaner. And we're also paying for this upfront, fully funded. And this really helps government because all governments have no money. There's too many people, too many demands on their services.
So, as you were answering your question, I came across this thought on the internet that I saw almost, I guess, a year ago.
Yeah.
It said that just a piece of plastic, said a man throwing out of his window.
Mm.
You know, It's very simple. It's just a piece of plastic. I'm throwing it out of the window. But this was said by 1 billion people. So just imagine a piece of plastic. It's very tiny, doesn't harm, right? But if 1 billion people think this way and it throws such a tiny piece of plastic, it comes around to tons and tons flowing around in the world.
Correct.
So that
Yes, and Andy, there are a couple of things there. So firstly, we need to all know that the technology of the time, the plastic was a great idea, but it doesn't degrade, it doesn't decompose. So if you put plastic in water or on the side of the street, it will be there in 1,000 years. This is a massive problem. And what new technologies are doing and saying is that they're bringing things that decompose. So you can have a cup now that even if I threw it away on the floor, which I should never do, we're going to take that away, we're not going to do that. But if I did, in a few years' time, the weather would decompose it, and I'm not saying it would be gone, but it wouldn't be such a problem. Plastics in the ocean, you must go on my website for SPL Strategies. We support a charity in Kenya called Local Ocean, and they're all about taking plastic out of the East African Sea. Very important. I just want to challenge the question, though, because 1 billion people is a lot of people. £1 billion is a lot of money. Most people don't get or understand what that means. It's kind of too big. If I gave you £5 now, I understand what £5 is, but I don't understand what £5 billion is. If I gave you £5 billion, and Andy, we'd stop the interview straight away and let's rush and go to the Maldives or have, a party, bring everyone from DPS. It's a huge amount of money. But what I would like to say to you and to your students, this is a message for the students. The most important thing is that your individual voice, you as an individual person, can make a massive difference to communities, to your society, to your country, to our world. Your voice really counts. What you say to people, how you interact with people, makes a massive difference. So I want to turn your question on its head, the 1 billion. And, 1 billion pieces of plastic is a massive amount of plastic, and this would be a disaster. To say, let's think about the one. I talk about thinking a lot about the one. What are you going to do, Andy, when you go home today to make your family, your community, your country, your world a better place? And you have the chance. I could be sat with the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister. But I demoted you. You're the Deputy Prime Minister. And Andy is the Prime Minister. I always get on better with lady leaders for some reason. Don't take it personally. I can say this because I'm a man, so it's fine. But you could do great things in your life. And coming back to the earlier question, you don't need to have a degree. Okay, let's challenge the parents out there. You're sending all your children to get degrees. Do you all need degrees? No. No. You do not need degrees for a great life, a good job, a wonderful family. You need jobs that make a difference and that pay money. And the jobs of the future are going to be different jobs to the ones that you think. I might be wrong, but I'm sure here in India, all of the families associated with DPS school want their children to go to a university. And if they don't want them to go to a university, they want them to go to the best business school, IIT or MIT in America, or Henley Business School near Windsor Castle, where the king is. But for me, let's just get back to a situation where we say that when you walk out of this room, everyone in this room, including the podcast team, are doing a great job, smiling sometimes, looking serious other times, which is important. It's an important job. You can all make an incredible difference. Now, what does that mean? So when this podcast goes out, I don't know what the timeline is. It might be this afternoon or in 4 days' time. It depends on the crew and how they edit it. When it goes out, I am going to share this podcast. I want just one person. I'm coming back to the power of one. If you're out there, parent of a family at DPS school, DPS network, I just want one person to take something away from this podcast that makes a difference. So if one person says, I'm going to stop people littering around me, that's powerful. If one person says, actually, maybe my young person, my son, my daughter, doesn't need to go to university, that's powerful. If one person says, I need to get that solar on my roof, fully funded, as Dr. Pitfield said, I know a few people who can help out. These are powerful things. They make differences. And I want to say to you, the reason I came on a plane, I could have sat in the UK, it would have been great. UK is very nice. I've got my family, but I'm not interested in that. I've come out to India, and I go to Nepal on Friday. I'm going to Kathmandu with the British Council. I've come out to India to have chats like this. And the power of one, we're more than one in here, we won't divulge the size of the team, but the power of one is very powerful because I don't know how big the DPS network is, but there's probably hundreds or thousands of people listening to you, Mustafa, and you and Andy, and even a little bit about me, and we can make a difference to their life.
Definitely. Well, when I heard your answer, I feel like this really will help me, build a good relationship with nature as well as myself now. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. So just to say, nature is very important, but there's not much nature around us because there's lots of people in the world. Populations are not getting smaller, they're getting bigger. We need to find ways to do things better, and that's where innovative technologies come in.
Nowadays, success is narrowly defined, especially in academics. Why do vocational and skill-based careers still struggle for equal recognition? And how can they change this mindset?
This is a good question. We've already touched upon this. So the problem is cultural. Now, I don't mean cultural as in you're Indian and I'm English, British. I don't mean cultural like that. It's a mindset. It's a cultural mindset. I want the best for my child, so they must go to university. And I meet, wherever I go in the world or in the UK, I meet lots of families. In the UK, so in the late 1900s, so you wouldn't even know these years exist because you're far too young, lucky you. But there was a swing in the UK to say that 50% of all young people have to go to university. It was an arbitrary figure, a line, 50%. Why? What does that mean? Why do I need to go? Why do I need to be part of that 50%? I needed to be part of that 50% because culturally we decided that everyone would do better if they went to university. Maybe then that was a good thing to say. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the then Labour government got it quite right. In the UK, we're rowing back from this fast. Skills are much better than going to university. Real skills. How do I put the electrics in? How do I build a house? How do I do a podcast? These skills are what it is. But we have to change the mentality. Now, I have a test. I have a question. And Andy, this is my question for you. If you went home today and you said to your mother and father or your senior family members where they expect you to go, what will they say? After school, where are you going? Quickly.
Well, definitely they want me to take a dropout and prepare for NEET. It's a very big examination in our country where we go on. And
But where do you go after that?
well, after that, I specialize, if that is, I make it after passing that exam because it's a huge thing.
Okay.
And there's lots of competition.
Yeah, so where are you going?
3 lakh people. And
But you're going to make it. Where do they want you to go? Which institute? Pardon?
neurosurgery.
Yeah, so you're going to university.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you going, Mustafa?
I'm going to go to university, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're 100% of my sample audience. You're all going to university. So out there in DPS world, the 100% who are listening, 95% are all going to university. But unfortunately, actually, neurosurgeon, I don't know what course do you want to do?
ECM, engineering.
Engineering. Yeah, so that's university too. But many of the people going to university now, this is where I get my sister back. I have a sister called Ginny, Virginia, Ginny. She will never listen to this podcast, so you don't have to worry. So I know this. But my sister went to do media skills at university. This is not a university course. This is a course where you go out and meet real people and learn skills. How to interview people, how to meet people, how to record people. Media skills is not a university degree. I don't know how many gazillions of people in the world go and do media skills. Well, wake up, everybody. Firstly, you don't need to go to university. Secondly, there's no jobs, because the people who are getting the jobs are the people who actually went out and trained in apprenticeships and went to a company. I don't know what the name of their podcast company is, but is it Mock? So they went along to Mock and they said, I really want to interview people and I'm interested in these skills. Shout out to Mock. I feel as if I'm a US president giving a shout out. So they're very good at what they do. They smile. I haven't seen the cut yet in the edit, but I'm sure it's perfect. But that's what you should be doing. You don't need to go to university for media skills. It's ridiculous. That's a good word, ridiculous. Just Mustafa, say ridiculous for me. Yeah, but you don't say it passionately enough. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's totally and utterly ridiculous. Why would I go to university to study media skills? Okay. Hopefully this is getting through to the target audience, the parents. You're all there and listening in. Right. Hopefully.
As we move forward, today's interconnected world, I feel like geography does not limit our education anymore.
Yeah.
So, what do you exactly think about global collaborations? How does it help out in education? And how can countries bond up and help each other?
Yeah, so this is now you're in my absolute happy zone. This is happy zone stuff. So firstly, we're all people, we all do the same things, we have different backgrounds, we are one people, one world. That's a plug for British Airways and other airlines. They're called One World. It's quite a good strapline. Partnerships and outreach and travel are so important. So the real value things that you will get at this school is going to the local zoo. I drove past the zoo, Delhi Zoo. You know, that's a great trip if you're young, really young, to go and see animals. These real experiences. So traveling to the UK, come to London, say hello to people. You might not necessarily study in London, but I have a feeling that for many young people and their families, the feeling is you will get the best education if you come to Leicester University or Exeter University or Sheffield University, and you will get a really good education for sure. But it might not be right for you. So you know, I can't tell you the experiences I've had. I'm very well traveled. But in the last 36 hours, I've had some incredible meetings with people. I will remember this when I travel on very much. And, you know, this is informing my life and who I am. Mustafa, you're having a real meaningful, I'm going to cry soon, you're having a real meaningful, powerful effect on my life. And this is what the world is about. Just on the other thing too, globalization is a good thing and it's a bad thing. So the good thing is that we can be closer connected. The bad thing is that we can all just get on a plane and be in the UK 8.5, 9 hours later. And that's not doable for our societies and communities. We have to find a way of working this out. In the old days, you used to get on a plane at London Heathrow, and if you were going to Sydney in Australia, it would take you 3 or 4 different flights. Now, you can do that flight, shout out for Qantas, their long-haul super extended range. You can do the flight from London to Perth, direct, no stops, 17 hours. So twice the time it takes for me to fly from London to Delhi, you can do that in one hop, what we call a hop. You get on, you get off. So probably best to stop in Singapore. But I say to all of the students, all of the parents, the best things that you can really do from an education point of view is go out and see things, meet people, travel, and that will help inform what you do.
The world would have definitely been a lot more easier if we all were just like old pals coming,
It's not possible. There's too many old pals, too many billions.
Yeah. Now, as we're nearing the end
Yeah.
of this podcast, I would like to ask you a question that every student watching could relate.
Just to say, the end is the beginning. we're reaching the end of the podcast, but it's the beginning because we go away thinking, oh, that was the podcast. Yeah, sorry, keep going. I cut across.
One piece of advice you would give to students who are uncertain about their future.
Yeah, so the one thing your listeners will know is I've got lots of pieces of advice. So I love giving advice to people. Whether people listen is a different thing. And it's just my personal view. My one piece of advice from this podcast, and I want to thank you both. You've been great interviewers. Really, it's been a wonderful experience. And I look forward to listening back to this because, you know, the world changes where you are and what you see and feel. So I will be able to listen back to this back in the UK probably when I have 20 minutes, however long it's going to be when it's edited out. I will feel differently about this than others because I've been in it and I've been here and I've experienced this, but I will be listening to it in the UK. So my one piece of advice from this discussion is twofold. I like to keep things complicated. So the first thing is everyone, every student and every parent have to understand that the world of work is changing so fast that none of us can keep up. And the second thing, just to draw from our discussion, is please just don't think about university. Think about other great careers and job opportunities that the world presents you. And many of the students and the families who are listening to this, they will be great with their hands. They will be creative, or they will be an electrical engineer. There are different things to do. And, you know, we mustn't just follow the crowd. This is the third thing. So never follow the crowd. Be a bit different. Be a bit inspirational. Think in different ways. So sometimes when I meet people who follow the crowd, you can tell I don't follow the crowd because this is very conservative British. This is what you would expect. He's wearing a blue jacket and a blue tie with a white shirt, Oxford kind of thing. But I can tell you, I might dress conservatively, but I don't follow the crowd. I will never follow the crowd. I will help the crowd to think a bit differently about things and give my views, but we're going to do things in different ways. Can I say, because I think this is the end of the interview, I've really enjoyed this. This has been great fun. You've been incredible hosts. I think the technical team are wonderful too. I haven't seen the edit yet. I will feel a bit differently if the edit's not so great, but we shall see. But thank you to you both.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for sharing such powerful insights with us. Today, and I'm pretty sure all of us watching learned that the future is not exactly something we wish for or we wait for. Rather, it is something we sit and prepare for ourselves.
And in a world full of change, skills, adaptability, and the courage to learn will define success. Thank you for listening to the DPS Mathura Road podcast series. Stay curious, stay prepared, and keep learning.
And remember,
Service
service
before
before self.